Well, hello everyone. I thought I would welcome you with this nice picture that I always use in the beginning of the videos. Yeah, and of course we are going to talk about that in a minute. But let me just show you my face, because that could be more important, or maybe just a little bit. Anyway, I still have my list, and let's just review or just talk about what we are going to talk about today. So, we're going to talk about the show, of course, and let's do that. This show is a live show, or it's supposed to be a live show. I know it's in beta version or in alpha version or something like that, but of course, after a while, I would like to improve this. There isn't going to be any paying stuff, so of course you don't have to pay it, but you're allowed to donate some money, so I can afford stuff. But not today, because this is going to be an improvement later. So meanwhile, this show is trying to be about Hungary and everything which is related to Hungary. Since it's a live show, it's supposed to be interactive. I don't know, there aren't many people watching me live right now. Well, none. But of course you can, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can watch it later. Of course, that's not very interactive then. Although I can review questions about the YouTube video release, so if you comment there, I will definitely talk about it. But normally this should be interactive by using chat, so you can write me while I am talking, and then I can move topics or change the topic if needed. Anyway, let's do the second part of the show, scheduling. Since scheduling is quite hard, because saying or setting a specific time is not going well with my job and with the teaching, with other projects, and we may have to change this. And of course, sometimes if you live in the western part of the US, or in Colombia, Brazil, or maybe New Zealand, it could be very hard to get up 2 in the morning just to watch the show. So of course, we need some kind of compromise to do this. So first of all, if you would be so kind enough, just try to write your opinion about scheduling. We have, of course, you can write times which you are available, so I can decide and maybe schedule something there. But there are two main options here. We could use Facebook to create an event before each show. I would do that, of course. It's nice because I can use pictures, and you can send me questions before the show, so it could be more interactive. But in order to do that, the Facebook thing, you would need to use a Facebook account. I know 800 million people use Facebook accounts, but I don't know, you might not be on Facebook. So maybe an alternative is the Google Calendar, because I use it for every day. But Google Calendar doesn't really have nice pictures, and you can't ask questions. I only need an email address, of course. So, if you write to, and let me just show you that, if you write to hungarianproject@gmail.com and you give me your email address with that by writing there, because you know it shows your email address, and just write that okay, yeah, I want to be notified, then I can make list, and that's the simplest way. So now we have to decide whether we go with the Facebook thing or the Gmail or the mail notifying thing. And that's today's question. Should we go with the Facebook or Gmail? Personally, I would prefer Facebook because of the pretty pictures and the questions, so it could be more advanced. But I don't know. Since I can live with any of the two, I let you decide. So if you're watching this on YouTube, for example, because that's the only place I use, I upload the video beside Ustream, then of course you can tell me your opinion. Okay, number 3. Recent news from Hungary. While I am telling you the recent news from Hungary, I will let you watch some pretty green pictures involving some very nice landscapes and forests and plants of Hungary. So let's start with that. There you go. Some nice grass with typical Hungarian forest in the background. It could be a very nice... Okay, no matter. I don't change the subject. That's the first rule. So, okay. Recent news, Hungary. There has been snow. Let's change to another. Snow spotted. It covered everything, at least where I live. At least 3 or 4 centimeters today. I think it's melting now, so it's not going to last. But of course, snow this early in Hungary, it's very... Nowadays, it's very, very uncommon. And of course, we have to mention some politics while we are watching the road. From recent politics news is that the IMF stopped talking to us, so there's not going to be money coming from them, because our government is like... Right, that was enough. So our government is like some teenager putting so much emotion when it comes to compromising with organizations such as the EU or the IMF. Normally, at least these days, I think I could call it normal. The EU, like a normal adult, tries to ask things from us. Of course, they could be evil things or not evil things, perhaps good things, I don't know, and frankly I don't care, because I focus on the reactions of our government. So, I have prepared with a little play, which I am going to be the main character, and well, there isn't going to be any other character in it. So, let's say that the EU sends us a letter with the list of things we should do. And then they talk about it very calmly, that yeah, we should ask Hungary about this and that and that. For example, why are you doing this transaction tax, which is against the EU constitution? Why are you doing that another thing, which also against the EU constitution, and so on? And they ask a very... I have read the letter. It is very polite, you know, like I would expect from a Western European team. So when our government is trying to react to this, I imagine by their statements that it's something like this. They got the letter that's saying that, sir, Prime Minister, this is a letter from the EU, please read it, and he's trying to read it. What the fuck is that? Oh my god! What is the fuck? I'm not going to do that! And something like that. It may have been a bit of overplayed. I'm not a good actor, but I imagine that this is how they react. This is how a very angry and stupid Hungarian would react. So I try to deduce that from, because it seems to me that our government, at least judging by their statements, is not very clever. And I think I have talked about this, but let's move on, because now you have heard about the snow. Unfortunately, I have no pictures about the snow yet, but I have taken some, but I had no time to use them, or upload them to my computer. I only had time to just jump here and do the show, so please forgive me. So number 4, and this has been going on for 12 minutes now. I don't think we are going to do, or I'm going to do, a very long show today, because I have very few topics and I hadn't really prepared, to be honest. Right, number 4, we are going to take a look at a list about Fidesz party members. Now, this is a very Hungarian thing which we're talking about. In Hungary, there were at least 2 major parties. Nowadays, there is only one, Fidesz, because the other one, MSZMP, which I think I've already talked about, has fallen apart recently. So, there were 2 major parties, Fidesz and MSZMP. Fidesz was a very young party, created around the change, the revolution in 1990, and they had 2 terms now in the parliament. One in 1998, from 1988 to 2002, and from 2002 MSZMP was the governing party for 2 terms, and now in 2010, 8 years later, after 2002, Fidesz again grabbed the power, and now of course they are doing very stupid things. But there is an ongoing argument about Fidesz fans and MSZMP fans. MSZMP is a very traditional party. Their members were in the communist government before, so they are somewhat old people, with some young new members, and Fidesz was supposed to be all about the young and non-communist people and members. So they, in the argument, Fidesz says that MSZMP is contaminated by communist people, former communist party members. So it's natural that these MSZMP fans take sometimes, or in some time ago, took a look at the Fidesz party members' background history. And this is what they found. let me just put you there for a moment and find that very nice list. And I think here we are. Oh, there we go. Fantastic. So, I know that these names don't really tell you many things. So, you have to believe me when I say that these people are Fidesz party members who are close to Orbán Viktor, or at least very influential people in the party. Now, if you take a look at that, on the left side, I forgot to put a dash here. On the left side we have the name, on the right side we have the organization he or she was taking or having a role, and here we have the job. We are not going to go over the list name by name, but basically you have to pay attention to this letter combination, because this is not MSP, this is MSZMP, which was the communist government before. So he was a member, and he was also a member, a vice president of that organization called the Hazafias Népfront, which could translate to patriotic organization. I don't think that Népfront has a very literal and understandable translation, but who knows? Some people speak English better than I, so who knows? Maybe we later on we can have a translation. Anyway, so I know the name of Járai Zsigmond. He's a well-known personality, and of course you might recognize Matolcsy György from our previous broadcasts. He is now the financial minister, and he was also a party member. And then here we have Pintér Sándor, who is or was the chief of police under Fidesz, of course. Kövér László, who spoke very, very loudly against some people who were communists, or who were party members, communist party members. And of course you can see the list goes on. Hoffmann Rózsa is now the well, I could call her the secretary or the minister of education. She is trying to reform education, and I may have told you recently that she tried to make a life program for teachers, but now it's cancelled. So no government aided careers for teachers. They will still have their low salary, and of course no motivation